There's no better smell than the smell of roasting meat. Hey everyone, welcome back to Chef Tyler's Croatian Kitchen, and today I have for you pečena teletina, or roast veal. Croatians love their roast meats. Love, love, love them. Every time I go by Bubba's, she's always got something in the oven, roasting away with onions, carrots, and of course, potatoes. And we really haven't done roasts on the channel in quite a while. It's the last time we did one was the roast chicken for Thanksgiving. And on one hand, once you know how to roast the meat, it's the same thing regardless of which meat you're using. The process doesn't change one bit. But on the other hand, kind of missing out on a core part of Croatian cuisine by not showing other ways you can roast meat. So today we will be doing roast veal. Veal is, of course, a little bit more of an expensive cut of meat, so a roast veal is only really served on a happy or celebratory occasion. Maybe it's a holiday, maybe someone's getting baptized, or they're having their first communion, maybe there's a wedding. Point is, veal is usually reserved for a celebration. So we're going to be doing this in a Dutch oven, or if you have a casserole, you can use it in a casserole as well. We'll be using, like I said, a Dutch oven, and this is kind of the closest you can get to a Peka inside. So what is a Peka? A Peka is a method of cooking while also being the physical instrument used in the cooking. It is a piece of concave metal that looks kind of like a bell, and it's usually translated in Croatian restaurants as a bell. So how you use it, you take your meat and your vegetables and you put them into a tin, you put it into the grill. Then you take the Peka and you put it on top, and you put the coals or charcoal or even piece of wood on top, and that's how it cooks. So if you don't have a grill at your immediate disposal, or perhaps it's the winter and you don't really want to go outside, doing it this way in a casserole is the next best thing. Because it's in a casserole, it's not going to really brown, so we have to make sure that we brown the meat before we put it in. This way, the meat will still be brown and we'll get the flavor from the caramelization, while also getting the juiciness and the fall apart texture by having it roast in its own juices. So let's get on into the ingredients. We of course have our veal. I'm using veal shoulder. In Croatian, this cut is called lopatica. If you can't find veal shoulder, you can also use chuck or round. And the round comes from the back of the veal. As it's a normal roast, we'll be serving with onions, carrots, garlic, and of course potatoes. And on the side, we'll be serving this with Riži Biži. Riži Biži is a type of risotto, basically just rice and peas, and it comes from the Venetian dish of the same name. So the Riži Biži we will cook while the meat is in the oven, so we'll worry about that a little bit later. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and prep our vegetables, and then we'll head on over to the stove where we will brown the veal. So I cut up the vegetables. The onions I just simply halved. The carrots I also cut and kept most of them whole, except for the one thick one, I cut that in half. Same thing with the potatoes, I cut them into quarters. Aside for the smaller ones, they were halved, and the really small one I just kept whole. So in here I have some tallow coming up to temperature. I thought we're using veal, so why not use tallow? And I can also salted and peppered the veal. So let me just grab it real quick. Here we go. This is a nice big chunk. It's about 1 kilo, 300 grams. So, oh god, math. Just about 3 pounds. So we'll just take you up. Try not to spill on this salt, and just place you right on in. And we'll brown each side. And also make sure to preheat your oven to 325 Fahrenheit or 162 centigrade. And after you have browned on all sides, it's time to add in our vegetables. So first with the potatoes and carrots, you just kind of want to stir these around the side of the meat. I'll just dump them all right in. Then we'll add in our onions. And lastly, wash the garlic. But the remaining garlic we'll add in as well. I'm also going to take a small piece of tallow and just put it right on top of the meat. And this way, as the meat cooks, the tallow will melt and bake the meat. Lastly, I'll finish up the seasoning with some more salt, more pepper, and some Dalmatian herbs. I forgot to mention that before, but we are using Dalmatian herbs. That's done, we'll take our lid, place it on top, and we'll move this into the oven. We will now let this cook for 1 hour and 30 minutes. After an hour is passed, we'll come back to the stove and we'll make the Riži Biži. I will see you then. So now it's time to make the Riži Biži. I've already gone ahead and diced an onion and about like 5 cloves of garlic, only because Konzum had these really fresh, really purple heads of garlic, and that's the good garlic, so I really wanted to use a lot of it here. In addition to that, we have a glass of white wine, of course our rice, which we are not washing, and this is a bouillon cube for beef stock, and I don't have the peas. That's fine, because the peas are still in the freezer. They are frozen. If you have fresh peas, you can use fresh peas, then you'd want to put those in at the start. The frozen peas we're going to put in at the end. Making a Riži Biži is basically just making a risotto, with the peas being the addition into the rice. We've done risotto now twice on the channel. First we did mushroom, and then we've done cemni risotto, or black squid ink risotto, and now we're doing Riži Biži. So the whole process is going to be the same, or at least very, very similar. We will be cooking this in tallow, which is probably not the most usual fat to cook risotto in, but since we're using that to cook the veal, I thought it would be best to just keep with the theme. So there's really nothing else to do here. I've already done everything. Let's head on over to the stove where we'll start the cooking. So as per usual, immediately I'm going to add in the onion. There's already tallow in there. Make sure all the onion gets in, but not the garlic. We don't want the garlic going in now because the garlic will burn. Let's just give this a little stir and let these start to sweat about 5-7 minutes until they are translucent. Once the onions have gone translucent, we'll add in the garlic, and then we'll deglaze with our wine. It's a lot of wine for the amount of onion in there, but the wine is also flavor. Anyway, well, let's come to boil. Let's throw in the rice. This rice will also start to sop up the wine. Give a little stir. No, I didn't toast the rice, but my mom never did, so that's why I'm not. I don't think I mentioned it. This is my mother's recipe for Riži Biži, and I contacted her literally 30 minutes ago in a panic to make sure I had it down pat. Maybe those are secrets I'm not supposed to tell. I'm not Gossip Girl or anything. Well, anyways, let's wait for this to boil out. Once the rice has sopped up the wine, let's turn it back up. We'll add in 1.5 cups of water because we've had 1 cup of rice. Into that, I will throw this bouillon cube. So the reason I'm not seasoning right now is because the bouillon cube has a lot of seasoning in it. I'm going to wait till the end to see if it needs any more. So, like I've said in previous risotto episodes, we're not stirring this the entire time. We're just going to let this cook. Once it comes to a boil, I'll turn it down so it simmers and leave it. Stir occasionally just to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom, but this constant stirring is not needed. When it's almost done, we'll add in the peas, let those thaw, maybe a little bit extra water just to make sure that it cooks, and then we'll be ready to serve. And once the peas are soft and the rice is cooked through, we'll take it off the heat and we will add in the butter. No, we're not going to add in tallow. I'm just going to do a nice chunk. Then we'll let the residual heat from the rice melt the butter into the Riži Biži. I forgot to mention at the beginning that you can also add cheese into the Riži Biži, so I'm just going to add this into my own personal serving, not the entire bowl. So for now, we'll just let the Riži Biži sit aside for a bit while I take care of the veal. Here we are. I have not looked into it yet, so this will be our first look together. Don't touch it. That's so obvious, I don't know why I touched it. Wow, it surely smells delicious, so just gonna do that. So we're gonna do now is we have our tongs, and we're just going to take the meat out somehow. Look at that, and just let it rest for 5 minutes. Now those are the hardest part, but we need to let it rest. There's also a lot of liquid in here. So the Croatian way is to just serve this liquid as is. However, if you want to add more of like an American twist to it, you can make a gravy out of this liquid. I'm not, I'm just going to keep it traditional. So I'll see you back in 5 minutes once our veal has rested. Then it's time to cut into the roast. Veal should be, in this case, cooked well done. If you want it a little bit, say less well done, more like a medium, of course, go right ahead, but you're gonna have to adjust the cooking time down maybe to closer to an hour. Just cut 2 pieces right here, and I realized I don't have a plate, so give me 1 second to grab a plate. All right, plate now acquired. Let's put our veal roast on here, and let's grab some vegetables as well. Got nice potatoes and the carrots. The potatoes were falling apart as I was pulling them out. Let's get an onion in there as well. Just all this deliciousness right here. Let's get 2 onions. I love a roasted onion. And here we have Peka deletina sa Riži Biži. I'm so excited to dig in, so let's just go right ahead. Nice piece of the meat. I want to do this first, just on its own, to really get a nice taste of it. So taste for Greg. That is so good. It's so nice and juicy, very, very tender. You get all the flavors of like the veal there, but plus the spices are the herbs really, and then some of the wine as well. This is amazing. Like I want more, but I'm just gonna try the other stuff now because I do have to try it for all of you. So here we go, some Riži Biži. Perfectly well done. The rice is nice and soft, and like just a hint of bite, like not al dente, just a little past that, but definitely not overdone. And the piece too, just like explode in your mouth with some flavor. So good. I mean, I'm gonna have some of the onions. I love onion. This is like the perfect dinner for any kind of celebration, or honestly just because. I mean, life is too short to eat bad food, so eat something good. If you liked what you saw, please hit like and subscribe, and dobar tek. All I'm eating today is just the cake scraps from the Vladica last week. So good though.